Hey guys, my name is Seniac and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2 India Edition. Where last episode, guys, we did something a little bit crazy. It kind of split people a little bit, but I built my very own elevated station in New Delhi. Believe it or not, we actually have a station underneath, which is this one here, which kind of feels like it's underground, but it's not. We have our above ground station and then our above ground station right now. The bottom is kind of situated to being high-speed transportation. And above, we've chose to do elevated commuter lines coming in, which is really wild, but in a weird way, as ridiculous as it looks, it kind of works. And the more I kind of look at it, the more I'm kind of falling in love with it. It's really weird. All I can say is, guys, it's really, really weird. I don't know how far we're going to be taking this with this, but I've got some big plans today. Now, the sole focus in this episode is to set New Delhi up for big expansions. Now, I've talked about this before in the past. It has such a big target population and what it wants to be. It basically, right now, wants to be 3 times the size it currently is, which is terrifying. It actually scares me, okay? It scares me it wants to be that big. Now, it probably won't ever get that big because a huge part of the city is unbuildable with this river in the middle. So that's kind of working in our favor a little bit with the, not going through the huge expansion. But what I want to do today is I want to set up 2 new lines coming out of this elevated train line. So we have the right side here currently working right now, and I don't know whether this line is actually making money yet. It is. That's glorious. We built that last episode as it goes to Lud and to Jaipur. Now, what I want to do is take a look at these 2 additional lines on the elevated section. Now, the middle line, what I want this to do is to come out, follow the high-speed train line down almost, and then go through Mathura, which will then lead down to Kota, to Ratlam, then all the way down to Baroda, and then it will eventually connect up to the big coastal line that currently ends in Mumbai that will extend going further up. So when it gets to this town over here in Baroda, it will crisscross with the line that goes to New Delhi, okay? That way we can have commuter lines making their way up here. That would be pretty good. Unless I make that line go all the way up to New Delhi in general. I don't know yet. We'll just see what happens. But I just want to first make it connect to that town. That's what I want to do first. Second, I want to get the left-hand side to come out as well, and that to then connect to Agra. That's what I want to do, is just get them 2 lines connected to these 2 towns, and that will begin the expansions of setting New Delhi up to being literally the biggest town in the game by miles. We're going to have so many passengers coming over here. And then I want to take a look at building some type of a commuter loop going around the town, with streetcars, trams, to kind of maximize the coverage of this train station and to maximize the city's growth. I'm kind of nervous about this, I really am. Now, if you are enjoying this series, guys, please make sure you smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you are new so you get notified when more episodes do come out. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to kind of work backwards. We'll set up the stations in these 2 cities and then funnel the lines going back, because that's where all the chaos is going to kind of come into place. There's going to be a lot of chaos with this one. There is going to be a lot of chaos. Now, for this one, I want the line to go this way. So it will mean, just quickly pausing for a second, deleting this and building the station here, and it will have to bend with that line, which is not a problem. Because what I'll do as well is you will use our old friend. Oh, hello. Use our old friend here. Now, we know the space is a double train line space when you want something to run parallel. We kind of discovered that recently to how we make it look good. But this train here is going to go through, and then it's going to have to elevate up and then go above these 2 in the middle. Easier said than done, right? Easier said than done. Easier said than done. So bring you to there, and then that's going to have to bend into this. So just kind of put our markers in place, we then pretty much know what we're going to be doing. So passenger terminal and tracks, do we want bypassing? Did I do bypassing? We are doing bypassing. We're going to do bypassing. Right, build you just here. So it will delete a lot of our station. Is that the right length as well? I'm already second guessing everything I'm doing. No. Is it 240 the length? 240 is the length in question. So bring you just to there. And then we're going to edit it. And we're going to get rid of the last platform. Make that a cargo one. And then 4 sets of tracks. There we go, there we go, there we go. Back to platforms, cargo here. And then normal passenger platforms. Now we're going to need passenger buildings. That's way too big. That will do. And then we need the miscellaneous stuff. So we need the underpasses there and there. We need the little canopies. And as far as I'm concerned, that train station is done. Now, the alignment to the road is a bit all over the place. I'll set that up at the very end. What I want to focus on next is doing the train line. So bringing you out, and we'll go in a straight line to here, which is probably longer than I need it to. But what I want to do is just figure out where my crisscross is going to go. There we go. So we only really lose one building. So if I delete that right back now down to the crisscrosses, I can then look at getting this to kind of then bend in. And then run you to there. And I'm hoping that's all I need to ultimately do. With running that and then it being somewhat almost, it looks like it's not parallel, but it is parallel. It is parallel. And then what we're going to do here is, because this train then is going to run up to there, we'll just initially pushes it, because the city is going to try and initially grow itself. So if I just run this in a straight line, and then just sort out my connection. Right there. There. I could do the crisscross after for the road. So I'm going to implement my crisscross after where the road connection would go. Which is pretty cool. And then try and get this to align. That would do. We'll go to there with you. This one. Can't get a crisscross over there. But I'll run the road down. And then I'll let the town itself decide how it then wants to run the rest of it. But for me, that's all it needs to do. Okay, that's literally all it needs to do. So, that's still how I want it. So I'm going to go back into play mode now and allow the town to do what it's got to do. We then got to figure out this one. Now, I don't know whether to figure out this one or run the train tracks in or wait till I've done them together. See, that's going to be the tricky part of all of this. We might need to figure it all out here. So the issue I've got is, because it's elevated, right, we've got to do pillar collision issues running down. But if you bring the train line from the station, you don't have to. Now, what I'm going to try and do here, and this is going to be very awkward to now do so, is get this to run between the two here, which is exactly what I would want it to do. Right, because they are connected technically. Now, this is only for this line leading to over there. So I've somehow got to get it. Now, if I'm being completely honest with you, I think it might be easier than you think. I think it literally is a case of I can run it parallel with the commuter line on that one side. But it's only gracious and amazing and beautiful and works gloriously for this one side. I've got to somehow bring in an additional line coming from that way. Holy moly. There is so many train lines coming out of New Delhi. Now, you could kind of connect them all as one line and only have one. But they will only be running as one for such a short distance. And I don't want to kind of overload my lines. So that's going to run into there. That's going to run into there. And then the old crisscross is going to take place here, right? So that goes there. That goes there. And that's run into there perfectly fine. This one's going to be the tricky one. Or actually it might not, because at a certain point here, we can kind of keep it elevated to turn up and over. Unless I make it utilize this central line and then bend off. Oh, I don't know. Right, let's just see. If I don't do any connections and I let it run naturally, it wants to tunnel there. Which is not a problem, providing this side here works okay as well. So that works perfect. We have the high-speed train lines running along with the commuter lines. That really couldn't go any better than you think, really, could it? I think that's looking at it, not too shabby. Now, obviously, you can always make it better. You can always make it better, don't get me wrong. But in terms of having this additional commuter line, keeping the line separate to reduce the backlog in train traffic, and because of New Delhi is going to be so bulked up, this works out really well. I mean, we make the high-speed train lines share the line. But I can make this one join this one, but it's a case of at what point do we... I mean, I can make it turn off here before the elevation. Right, this is going to be fun. So I think we should decide where this is going to run now. Obviously, this is going to go through... how do I pronounce this town? Is it Guelo? Is that how you pronounce it? It will run through there, so I think I might make it run on this side of the road, the train. Tearing through. So it wouldn't need to cross this road, it just runs along down here. So the issue now would be for me is how I get this to run. Now, like I said, I've got two options. I could either make this, right, run parallel with this elevated train track, which creates then a free wide elevation leading down, which makes this area very, very bulky. Or I can kind of make it merge with this middle line, which would obviously, I wouldn't say more efficient, because then the train would have to wait. It's not visually as bulky, but I really do like seeing, right, the wide and multiple lines, because it then makes it really feel like this whole area is very, very industrialized. It's just how we get across from here. So if I ran this to here, but then brought it slightly up, it's how I get this to there is my next issue. Now, could I bring it there if the whole thing was elevated? No, because this area technically elevates itself anyway, so... Oh, there you go. There you go. Wow, this is wild. This is wild. Right, the idea here then would be to delete this. And terraform it real quick. So, first, flatten the area. And then smooth around it. And hopefully, if we went out in a straight line... Do you reckon it needs to be higher? It's like it, because it's coming down, but then the terraforming of the land is slightly going up. So there is the straight bit. I think that works fine. That should work fine, but do you reckon I should make it bend a bit more? I mean, I can make it go directly to over there, but then it creates the bump. Because you want to keep it elevated so the city can grow underneath it. So running you to there, then where would this road then go? So the road can naturally just go under anyway, but I'm going to kind of pull it back a little bit so buildings can build on this side of the road. Right, that does exactly what I need it to do. Look at that already. Just from this one side above, like looking down, satellite view. It's wild what we've actually implemented. So you would think that this is all normal, but then you not realize there is a whole underground section down here. Whoa, look at that for a view. That's crazy. And there's houses underneath. There's a corner shop just there. Underneath the actual bridge. I like it. I really like this. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, this is ridiculous. And yeah, please stop doing what you're doing. But then the more I look into it, the more I'm like, you know what? This is actually pretty nice. And it allows us to have all these lines separated. So there's no, you know, it reduces the amount of train traffic. Right, let's see what I can do here now. We're going to have to delete a lot of this city. To find out where the best positioning would be for the train station. Now, somewhere like this would work because the way the train line then bends to go out of here. But it probably would mean I need to... Do you know what? Actually, no. We're going to pull it here. Right. We're going to pull it there. And I'm going to completely reconfigure this whole area. This whole town's going to be redesigned. But it will grow back when you get the connections. And it will be big. This is it. Some people get confused with this as well. Like, people don't like me deleting the city to build a train station, but you literally double the size of the city by building a train station. So it doesn't matter how much you delete of the city, providing you don't delete the whole city, right? Whatever the city size is, it will be double once you've deleted what you've deleted, and then you've got in. Oh, hold on. Have we just gone to a new style of passenger train stations? Right in front of our eyes since we've hit the 1980s? Has that literally just happened? It has. And now we've got special overhead stuff. Yeah, to go back to my point anyway. Like, if I take this city, for example, it's 115 residents, right? So if I then delete everything, obviously it will drop it down below. But deleting and building a train station will instantly make it go from 115 to maybe 300. So it's always worth deleting the city. Trust me. I'm an expert. I'm not an expert. Don't listen to anything I say. How did I manage to delete the road route of all of that? I can't believe the stations have now changed for us right in front of our eyes. Alright, build that across there. Tracks. Right, that's a straight line track. I'm changing the angle because the way the train station is changing. So if I get to there, that's how it wants to run, which is fine by me. And bring this in. So literally everything I said I wanted to do at the start of this episode, I've pretty much almost done. That road's going to cut across there, so I'm going to do my crisscross for it over here. Give ourselves a little bit of space. Now, I said I was going to delete this city. And I was being truthful, guys. I'm really going to delete the city. Because my train track's going to run through here. So if I just implement this now. Right. I've got to do the crisscross. Okay, I'll come back to the crisscross in just a second. So this road on the old bend can cut into there. Well, I made that road cut through there, so you still get the awkwardness going on. That's going to run straight down here. That's going to run straight down there. You're a connection in. I'll get rid of the bendy wendy. You're a connection in there. And then we've got our connections around the station. And then allow the city to grow however it wants to grow. There is ways in which we can add additional connections, don't get me wrong. That becomes a connection to the building there. There's an additional connection. You can throw in some more down here to really spread the connectivity. I don't normally do it like that, but that kind of makes that city even more intertwined and connected. You got that glorious train line now tearing up and over, which is pretty sweet. And then we'll smoothen the area off with the trains and the terrain there. That does exactly... That went a lot more easier to plan than I expected. That went a lot more to plan than I expected. Now, looking at it, I feel like this should go a little bit more straight before bending off. Now, I'm never satisfied. Clearly, I'm never satisfied right now. So I'm wondering what I can do here to kind of make that actually happen. So knowing how easy it was, we'll implement it all back in anyway. Right, but let me kind of go and continue to about here. And obviously we want to raise... Well, we want to raise it up, but not that high, because you're forgetting it does drop down on a dip. So bringing you down, you got to find where that moment is. So what I actually need to do is that's going to bend round there. So we kind of need a raised section. Now that's probably, it's probably raised too much. But you need that raised section to allow us to go to there. That's showing us that I'm raised way too much. Right, but that's not a problem. At least I know where the configuration is that I'm running. So get that to there. So bringing you to then here. Delete you. You. So now I've ran parallel, but we've just come just off it slightly. So the bend can then take place. So for us, all that really matters is the connection before the crisscross. I just think it will look now visually a little bit better. So running this down, where does the bend take place? I mean, the bend is taking place just over here. So I think it's a case of just running it a little bit further down to begin with. And then the big swing is here. How does that look? I think we'll go backwards first. So we'll run straight here. And then just get these to casually meet. Well, if we go from this way, you don't get the pillars because it's come directly off the station. So, looks a little bit better. Have I done that right? Oh my goodness me, where have I connected that one to? Well, that went funky, didn't it? So it looks a little bit better right now. You get the angle changing. It is exactly what you need it to do. You could argue as well, I could slightly redo this high-speed train line here. And that should run it should run then with the dip that gets created. Right, I think that's... Oh, no. Oh, no. Is this going to be one of those moments where I shouldn't have even played around with it? I should have left it as it is. I've got to wait for autosave now to kind of save my bacon. Nah, we're all good. So doing that there, it kind of runs it slightly with the dip a little bit, which probably would have worked in my favor when I was building that. But then the other argument now is to make, now we've got this, is to delete this all again. This will be the last time I delete this now, and the last time I kind of work with this, and we'll get some trains on the go. Is to run this to where it is parallel with it all. So delete all you. High-speed train line. Dipping up and over. Is that on smooth? Yes. And now because it's so far away and we connected in, and then we have something we can actually work with, it's just finding the right way to kind of make it now connect. So it is a case of you're not going to get this ultimately to connect to over here because of the drop it has to do. That dip there is probably our most annoying feature so far. Now you can see there is a bump. There is a bump in the hill, which completely throws us all off. So I've got two options I can do right now. I can either get rid of this bump slightly, so we're not so high and up and over, which will make that grand connection actually be a lot smoother. All this for this overpass connection is crazy, isn't it? So if I delete to here, right, and then we delete to, let's say, here. All right, this one here is probably going to have to go back a little bit further. So I get this right. This is going to be absolutely glorious for New Delhi. It really is. So delete that road because the road is going to change as well. So we'll smoothen, but we'll also flatten. So by flattening that, that should now allow us to run a better train line connection. So bring you to... Oh, hold on. Bring you to there, bring you to there. So you're going to make sure that it's all set up correctly. Because that starts to kind of bend away. Now, this here, get you to... It might be not as... Oh, I didn't mean to actually build you. That's going to have to drop a little bit further than you expect. But run this to there. And that should now be a lot lower. Right, there you go. All these back and forths. So you can see where you can see the land above. That's where it was originally on top of. Now it drops down quite dramatically. So if I bring this to here on this one, bring you to there on that one, and then these elevation, look at that. That's so much better now. We can kind of make it fly all the way over while being above our high-speed train line. Is the drop on that ridiculous? No, that should be okay. So now it doesn't look too shabby. In reality, does it? So smoothing. Alright, smoothing all that. Smoothing this side as well because of the elevation. How does that look either side? I mean, it's going to be big and bulky no matter what anyway. But the road can now continue. Well, it does get a little bit closer down here. We'll kind of slightly bend that away. Right, all that just to have this overpass here run parallel with the high-speed train line down below. And it's got the little support beams either side of it. So that now works. And it overpasses out, which is great. And there's a part of me that now wants to kind of... Oh, right. This is going to annoy you right now. But I now want to edit it one more time. Because now I kind of want to elevate this outer side down. No, I'm going to leave it as it is. Because I've done too many changes now. I've done too many changes. Right, it does what it needs to do. It does what it needs to do, guys. So back into play mode. Actually, I'm going to go back into fast forward mode now. We've got to do the crisscross on this part of the train tracks here. So get these in before anything else. And then that will then lead over and go through... Is it Guaylor? Is that how you pronounce it? I'm not too sure, guys. I'm not too sure. And that then... We got our connection down to Math to Agra. That's glorious. Now, we can extend these lines and to other cities, and then we've got a nice little run on the go going back and forth. And then up the north side of it, one's obviously going to bend round to the right and go to Barreley. One can go up to Dehradun, if that you pronounce it, or it can run this way and head over this way into the northern parts, all the way to Kabul. So there's lots of variations in which we can kind of take it. Now, what I want to do next is I want to see if we can first... Yeah, we can build road connections going over. I want to see if we can kind of set up a streetcar loop on the go right now, so we can really benefit from the amount of people we can kind of pick up and collect. Now, New Delhi is not the perfect grid city, so we are going to lose out in some areas where we can be efficient. But I'm just going to sprawl the roads first and foremost, just to see how far we can take them before the city decides to grow itself. So running you out like that. Very good, very good. I'm kind of trying to keep true to the area, but at the same time not be true. All right, that's going to run out like that. You want another connection going through. Now, what I build now, the little kind of streetcar loop that I'm going to build, eventually will be an inner city loop when it's all kind of grown and expanded. Now, I feel like this area here could do with another bridge, to be honest with you. We could do another bridge on this road. Now, this coming out, I think what I ultimately need to do first is delete this little strip. Bring this road out as if New Delhi is going to extend down this way. Bring that road cutting across. Now, I've got two options. I can either make the bridge be ever so close here, or I can make it slightly diagonal out. And we'll go with this style of bridge. And then in doing so, we'll bring this all the way up, like this. We'll actually bring it to about... I'm going to bring it to there. I'm going to delete this road and I'm going to rebuild it. Because there's another bridge connection here, because that's quite an overloaded route as well. So you want the areas to be intertwined as you can possibly make them. So bringing you up, and then the bend in place, just like that. So then these roads now all leading out. That goes through. That goes through. So do you. And then so do you. So then we've got to pick one of these roads to be the main run from Kaunpur. Is it Kaunpur? Kaunpur? Is that how you pronounce it, guys? Again, I'm really, really terrible with town names. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it utilize this road here just for now. Okay? So back into play mode then. We're really setting New Delhi up right now to succeed. We really are. We got 4 main bridges going across the river. But what we also have is a passing further north where the river ends. We've got an additional bridge here as well, which will really benefit this town. It will benefit the through route here and really reduce the traffic numbers. But all the traffic should die down naturally when we start implementing trains and public transport. Now, the public transport won't die down much because the big issues right now is them getting from, say, like, getting from this town to this town. They're going to drive up and then go down through here, or getting from this town to over there. It's a long route in which they must take. I could solve it by building a bridge going over. Same with these as well. But I much prefer to solve it with public transport because I'm then forcing them to use my public transport, which means I'm forcing them to buy a train ticket. So, yeah. Now, the reason I've done that is so I have a little bit more freedom right now with building a little bit of a streetcar route. So, first thing I need to do is set up a hub for my streetcars, or my trams. So, I have now unlocked the bus stop thing, but it's going to be a little bit too big for what I want. I want to keep it simple and have a bus and tram stop. Now, we'll go for 3 either side, make it super long and electric. Where can I squeeze this in? So, somewhere like here does actually work. Whereas if I do it here, I'm trying to look at all the connections on all sides of the road. Now, having it on this side, you get the best connections. So I'm going to throw it in just there. So we're going to build that in there, and we're going to use that as our main hub going around. And all I'm going to do right now is create a counterclockwise and a clockwise loop going around. Now, what I'll do quickly is I'm going to actually delete this road. Pause again. And we're going to run this to... Am I building tram lines on these roads? I have all this never got a tram line on this. No. Right, coming off this road here, we'll keep it straight, and then we're going to bend it down to here, which will have that connection. Oh, is that slope too much? Oh, wow, okay, there is a big slope issue. All right, delete you back. Don't want it to be so close to the edge, though, because having it so close to the edge does hinder the building aspect. So I run that down to there. Have you as a connection there. Because it enables me to create this tram loop a lot easier, if you know what I mean. So go to like that then, back into play mode. And then we're going to sort out our connections for the tram. So we need a bus and tram stop. So let's say we come out of here and we want to maximize the collection rate. So we'll do one here and here. It's mainly on junctions that follow through. We'll then do one here and here. Now, what I'm doing right now is almost like almost an outer loop. It's not particularly going to be an outer loop, but it's almost an outer loop to the point where it's on the outskirts of the city. But eventually, this will be an inner city loop once New Delhi has fully grown and expanded outwards. So both sides there. So I feel like it doesn't make much sense at the moment, but it eventually will make a lot of sense. And they do have good radius in terms of connection. So even though I've got the tram stops over here, it still connects to the inner city area. Because of the radius that we've kind of got involved. Some of it obviously is not going to reach. But this is a nice little loop on the go. Now, we've got one there. I'm going to do them few and far between. To really maximize my coverage. And into there. So we'll kind of pick up just here. And I'm going to do one just here as well. So they are a lot closer than what I would normally do them. But it's to give me the most maximum coverage. To make the train station have a wider radius reach when you implement the trams. Now obviously, it's only for New Delhi. It's an inner loop for New Delhi. Well, it's considered an inner loop at the moment. It would make more sense to have the lines connecting to other towns. But that's what I want to use the trains for. Okay, that's what I want to use the trains for. Now, I probably will get set up a train going back and forth to these two towns to begin with. But I'm going to first focus on the trams. Now, we're going to have to upgrade the roads to include tram tracks. So tools, tram track tool is what I want, isn't it? Yeah. So I got to create my little loop right now on the go. And the main thing is about this, though, is it connects to the train station. So across the bridge. And then we're running down this way. There we go. That's now implemented. We're going to create a brand new line. So start here. Make sure we get the correct side of the road set up as well. Now, when we get into the New Delhi Exchange, we want to get to utilize all the stops. I'll also make this line red so it kind of stands out. There we go. Well, where am I going? We've got to do a turn here. So this will reduce traffic to a certain degree, but it's only going to reduce the traffic that would have been going from one side of the city to the other. It won't reduce the mass amount of traffic that we have coming across the bridges. Oh, hang on. Where did I get to? Park Lane, North Road. We're already here. Nice. So another new line, which will make this one blue. So you won't see that traffic dying down across the bridges until we implement the trains going from city to city. Now, don't get it twisted about how this road is now working. Because once we put trams on there, they will be dictated to where the tram road actually is. So they kind of want to turn there and go around because they see that as the quicker option. But it doesn't work like that. It will update in a minute when we implemented the tram line on. Right, to here, which the New Delhi Exchange is all platforms. And then back to North Road. Right, so we're going to have to implement a tram depot. Which we will build this. I'm going to build this over here. Because for me, this kind of feels at the moment out the way. But it probably won't be for long. Now, let's go by capacity. So these are the biggest capacities here. This holds 35 people. Now, I feel like I'm going to get 6 and put 3 on each side. So line 13, then line 12. And then just give them time, and then we'll just see what happens. It'll probably be a while before they do make money. It probably will be a while. But at least we've kind of got something on the go. This is going to be really exciting. This really is going to be exciting. I like the fact that I built this train station here. It's the old style. And then by the time I got to build this train station, we're now in the new style. It's kind of cool, isn't it? I like it. I like it quite a lot, guys. It is pretty nice. And the train track runs in. Oh, damn. That's glorious. The high-speed train underneath. Damn, boys. This is a big station, baby. It's a big station. So yeah, the confusion over here with the tram line now gets fixed because now they realize it's a tram line, not a bus line. It can only go on where the tram roads are, which is pretty much set up to how we've just done it. So, glorious. Glorious. So now we've got this little loop in. So we kind of made New Delhi, the city itself, more intertwined and connected than ever before. We now unlocked the ability for more passengers to access the train station. So you should see right now an even bigger growth spurt now happening as they can access more places. Now what we've got to do is we'll get our 2 new towns set up with a train going back and forth. Now granted, there's not going to be that much demand until we've extended these lines a little bit further. There's not going to be that much demand. So, you know, there's only so much I can do, okay? There's only so much I can do for now, but it'll be nice to get some product over here to kind of expand it a bit further. So, the idea could be, right, it's a case of, do I want to expand it now, or do I just set up the train lines now? I think I'm not going to set the train lines up now and add a train onto it until we've extended a little bit further. I think that will be the way in which I go. Now, just looking at the towns and where I'm going to run it, I can make this line come down into here and then to this stop, which would be great. Or do I look towards maybe setting up the ability boys? Hold on, let me go underground again, because I want to see, which side do we make the cargo attach? So, do we make the cargo come to this bottom platform? Well, we can only make it come to this bottom platform. We can't have elevated cargo. That's the annoying thing about this platforms. You can't have elevated cargo platforms, which is really annoying. So the cargo has to be on the ground. Now, we can even make the cargo come in to this bottom station, which by looking at it, there is some dead space here where that additional train line would run. But for us, they kind of merge separately. Which you can make it kind of come out, but it will get to a point here. We could do a tunnel, which is not a problem. Now, it wants food and goods. We are not fuel and goods. We're not producing any goods anywhere at this moment in time. But what we are producing is fuel, or we can produce fuel. Now, we have this oil set up over here, by the way, where we're picking up the crude oil, right, taking it back and forth between one another to produce the refined oil. And then we are taking the refined oil all the way up to here to be turned into fuel. Now, we are getting oil delivered, but we're not, right, processing it into fuel because we're not delivering the fuel anywhere. Now, we could deliver this fuel to New Delhi. Now, we've got to think, what is the best way to go about it to get it delivered? We could make it run in a straight line, chugging all the way down up into the big, big mountains before then turning to, where is it? Over here, to come down into the city. Now, when we take a look at New Delhi, if I viewed it via industrial, the fuel wants to be over here. So I could run a train down into this part right now and have a separate cargo train station, by the way, to drop off the fuel. That could be a possibility, guys. That could be a possibility. Now, it's a bigger, right, task than you think. But that is the possibility. Then we'll just have to bring in goods to this side of the city. How glorious would that be? Right, look at how busy this bridge is now becoming as they're all now utilising this as a through road. We've got to look towards getting public transport all set up. We really do. So I can see the next episode, guys, us expanding like crazy. But at least we've got the main bit running. And the rest of it should fall into place. So we haven't really been able to do much this episode. But what we've got in place right now for New Delhi is going to transform the area. And it sets us up quite nicely for growing the city. I mean, chart-wise, it's having a big boom. Has this town recovered, by the way? Yes, it's now bigger than it ever has once was. This town over here, have you recovered? Almost back to where it once was. Jaipur right now has had a huge growth spurt. So you can see the differences with me destroying a city and then bringing in... Oh, actually, Jaipur is... It's got a good target population, so no wonder it's looking pretty good. But yeah. Do we just focus on the public transport side before we bring the goods in? Because if I bring the goods in now, the city's going to expand. It's going to cost me a fortune to delete all the growth. It's a tricky one, boys. It is a tricky one. But, yeah. We need to die down this vehicle traffic by actually getting public transportation connections implemented and all in. Guys, we are going to end it here. Hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you have, please smash that like button down below. Big expansions are coming. Until next time, I'll see you all soon. So goodbye.